Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline as we shift our attention to NFL football, specifically Fred Warner and the San Francisco 49ers, is the founder and editor-in-chief of the 4th and 9 blog, San Francisco 49ers insider Dylan DeSimone. Dylan, welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, let's start with this. After an eye-popping debut in the preseason, what do you think of Fred Warner?
Fred made his debut against the Texans this past game. It was week 2 of the preseason. He looked pretty sharp. He came in before the second half. Actually came in the second quarter, and he looked pretty good. He was pretty much doing everything that you kind of expected him to do. A lot of it was translating. He looked good in coverage, looked good near the line of scrimmage, making tackles. Presence was felt out in the flats, some athletic plays. So kind of lived up to his billing right away.
Is he healthy after a chest injury that kept him out of practice and the first exhibition?
Yeah, it seems that way. One of the cool things that the 49ers have done with Fred is they actually have a Players Tribune-like diary. So there was actually some transparency around his injury this offseason. He had the chest injury. He thought maybe he was going to miss the Cowboys game. He was held out of that game as a precaution. He said he felt that he turned a corner after the first game, and he seems like he's pretty much fully ready to go. He was cleared for the joint practices with the Texans, and then he was full go in the game.
Editor-in-chief of the 4th and 9 blog, Dylan DeSimone, with us on BYU Sports Nation. We're talking about Fred Warner and his debut for the 49ers in NFL preseason action. What are the expectations for Fred once the real games start?
Well, it's tough. You know, there's actually a lot of competition for him at linebacker, but at the same time, there's a lot of opportunity. The 49ers have a veteran linebacker in Malcolm Smith, who used to play in this system for Robert Saleh, the defensive coordinator in Seattle. And then there's Brock Coyle, who exceeded expectations at linebacker last year. The opportunity is both of those guys have been dinged up this preseason, and they haven't been able to be full go. Right now, Malcolm Smith is not expected to play in any of the preseason games. Brock Coyle's been dinged up as well, and then of course Reuben Foster is suspended the first 2 games of the season. So there's some opportunity kind of in there for Fred to maybe capture a role, but his opportunity is right now.
Fred played outside linebacker at BYU his entire career, didn't play middle at all. Then in the Senior Bowl, he's asked to play middle, and then suddenly he's a middle linebacker in the NFL. So how do you see him fitting at that position after not playing it in college?
Well, the middle linebacker, or the Mike linebacker in this defense is the quarterback of the defense, and I think they view Fred as a really smart guy, somebody that can really relay the calls on defense and identify any changes that they need to make. They gave him the green dotted helmet right away in minicamp and OTAs, so he was doing that. That was his responsibility pretty early on. They also like his coverage ability. So with his ability to kind of just drop back and because he kind of had that hybrid role at BYU, he was that flash position where he was playing back. So they like him doing that. In today's NFL, that's going to be really important. So he's kind of a rare breed. So it's kind of interesting to see what they're going to do with him. At the same time, that kicks out Reuben Foster to will linebacker, and he's fast. So they're going to like him they need some more pass rush from their linebackers. So it's kind of complementary, and I think Foster and Warner are going to play well off each other because of that.
Dylan DeSimone of the 4th and 9 blog, San Francisco 49ers insider, with us on BYU Sports Nation. Given that Fred did perform very well in his first and only exhibition performance as a rookie, how much do the coaches buy into that in terms of, okay, what now do we expect? Do they undervalue that purposely, or do they – I mean, I know fans get really excited about it, but how do the coaches view that?
I think they're looking for consistency. Did Fred win his snaps with his assignments? Even if things are collapsing around him and guys aren't winning their snaps, I think they're going to be looking for what Fred's doing. And then consistency, game to game, quarter to quarter, all that stuff's really going to matter. So he's putting together his own tape for them. So far, so good.
Do you think Fred Warner will start some games or a bunch of games this season?
I think he has a potential to start week 1 because of Reuben Foster missing games and because Malcolm Smith is pretty much missing up this entire preseason. He's not going to be in any of the preseason games. So he has a chance to start week 1. And there's also Brock Coyle. I mean, he might just be better than Brock Coyle, in which case he can earn a starting spot. So he can start as soon as week 1. And even if those guys do come back, they might find that he's the more talented player. I mean, he was a top 75 pick. So I think there's potential for him to create a role for himself this season.
Understandably, there is a new hope, a new belief for all of San Francisco 49ers football nation, and it's largely because of what Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy GQ, did at quarterback late last season. So with his emergence and with the 49ers draft and what has happened here, is it playoffs or bust for the 49ers in 2018?
Yeah, I think their sights are on the playoffs. At the same time, they're in one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Rams are looking like one of the best teams in football. Cardinals and Seahawks are always going to be a tough out, even though their rosters don't look like a lot of the others. And then the NFC, that conference in general. I mean, the Eagles are coming off a Super Bowl. Vikings, Saints, all these teams look really good. So it's going to be really competitive. And they got a tough schedule. They play the NFC North and the AFC West this year. A lot of good teams in those divisions. So, I mean, realistically, maybe they go 9-7, sneak in with a wild card. I think they're set on the playoffs, but a lot of these games they could be very close. So they could be a 9-7 team, they could be a 13-3 team.
Hey, just be in contention, and I think that's a good step in the right direction.
Oh yeah.
All right, Dylan, we appreciate the time and the insight into Fred Warner and the 49ers, man. We'll talk to you later.
Well, thank you, guys.